Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do this really fun stitch called the Larksfoot Stitch. And it is just a really fun, striking stitch, especially if you have some different colors that you go back and forth on. I think you'll really enjoy this one. A couple of things about this stitch is it just includes chain stitches and double crochets and what's called this spike stitch, or some people call it an elongated double crochet, which I'll show you in the tutorial. And probably the most difficult part about this stitch, if you're doing all these different colors like what I demonstrated here, the hardest part is going to be weaving in all the ends of every single time that you have a color change. But if you look here, you can see it's really worth it as far as how beautiful it is when you have all different colors. And boy, you can get really creative with the different uses for this, the different color changes, however you want to do it. And you could even do it all in one color if you don't want to worry about the weaving in all the ends and changing colors. It won't be quite as dramatic, but you can still see the spike stitches here, even with just a single color. But I think you'll really enjoy this one. So sit back and let's take a look at what's involved with this stitch. Okay, so to start with, you can use any combination of yarn and hook that you like. Just find the yarn you like, check on the package for what yarn size you need, and that should work perfectly for you. Also, choose any color combination that you want as well. It's totally up to you. It's dependent upon what you're making, etc. For today's tutorial, I'm going to use 3 pretty bright colors just so that we can see the contrast really well and so that it shows up on the video nicely. So I've got your yellow, orange, and like a deep red. So we'll see how that looks. Now to start, you'll want to chain any multiple of 4. So whatever length you need, depending on what you're making, just make sure it's a multiple of 4. And then once you get there, add 1 at the end. So I started with 24 and I added 1 on the end for the chain, the first stitch that we're going to make. So I have a total here of 25. To start with, I'm going to do a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. So here's 1, 2, 3, this stitch right here. See that? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put a double crochet in there. Now the chain 3, because you'll see we have a chain 3 right here because of starting in the 4th chain from the hook, that's going to count as a double crochet. So this is 1 double crochet, here's a 2nd double crochet, and we want 1 more in the next stitch. So 3 double crochets technically in a row. Okay, you're going to want to chain 1 and skip 1. So we did a chain 1, we're going to skip this next stitch right here, and into the next one we're going to do a double crochet. Into the next stitch here, a double crochet, and into the next stitch here, a double crochet. So once again, 3 double crochets. You're going to chain 1, skip 1, and do the same thing. So you'll have 3 double crochets, a chain 1 and skip 1 all the way across, and you should end with a double crochet. So we'll keep doing, and you'll notice as we do this pattern, it's all done in groups of 3 like that. So every row has a group of 3. It's just where the group of 3 lands is a little different every row. So I'm going to continue to do this 3 double crochets all the way across. And what we're doing right now is really just setting up the base for the stitch that we're going to do, and you'll see what I mean here after we get these first 2 rows done. 2, 3. That's our last stitch right there. Let's just take a look at it and see what that looks like. Okay, so we have 3 double crochets, a space, 3 double crochets, right? 3 double crochets all the way across, and you end with 3 double crochets. Okay, for the next row, you're going to do exactly the same thing. You have a choice here. You can either do an alternative turning chain or just chain 3. I'm going to do my alternative turning chain. You can do either one, and that's going to count as a double crochet there. So again, mirror that very first row. So 3 double crochets, that chain 3 or the alternative turning chain at the beginning counts as one of them. Chain 1, skip that chain from before. 3 double crochets into the 3 double crochets from the previous round. Okay, chain 1, skip that chain, 3 double crochets, okay, chain 1, skip that chain, and you'll do this all the way across. Okay, chain 1, skip 1, and do your 3 double crochets. Chain 1, skip 1, 3 double crochets. Now, when you get to this last double crochet, and just let's look at that for a minute. This is that chain 3 from the very beginning, and you'll want to put that double crochet in the 3rd chain, the top. So that very chain right there, you're going to want you to put your double crochet there. Now, don't finish it, okay? Because we're going to change color, and to properly change color, you don't want to finish the stitch. So all I did here, just to go back, for the very last double crochet, is I went through the first 2 loops, and I stopped before I went through the last 2, all right? Here's where you want to change your color. So we're going to drop the orange, and eventually you'll cut this and fasten off that and weave in all the ends. Like I mentioned, probably the hardest part about this is weaving in all the ends for every row where you change color. So this will be cut and woven in. Now I'm going to go to yellow as my next color. So I'm just going to grab my next one. I'm going to wrap it around that hook, and instead of finishing the double crochet with this orange, I am now going to finish this double crochet with the yellow, right? Just like that. And just pull tight. And there you go. You finished it, and now you're ready to start that next row with the new color. Okay, so we'll drop the tail of that and the tail of the orange, and now your turn. And you're going to do a chain 3 or an alternative turning chain, whichever you prefer here for the next row. So you're with the new color now. All right, and you've got that woven in. Now let's take a look here, because what we want to do is start offsetting where those double crochets are. So wherever you have this space like this is where you want the second or the middle of the group of 3. So for row 3, you're going to want to have your chain 3 to start with, or an alternative turning chain. If you do an alternative turning chain, you'll do an alternative turning chain and a chain. If you're doing a chain 3 for your double crochet, you'll actually need to chain 4. Chain 3 for the double crochet and 1 for the chain, because we're going to skip. We're going to skip this second double crochet here, and we're going to do a double crochet here, because we want our groups of 3 to now be offset and be here in the space and here. So all the way across, we'll do here, here, and here. Now, so what I did is I have my alternative turning chain, I have a chain 1 and a space, and I have a double crochet all with my new color. For where this space is right here, when we do our double crochet, we're actually going to do it down a row below, down here in the space down here, not here where you'd normally do it. We're going to do it down here. Typically that's called a spike stitch, and you'll see that when we do it. I've also heard it called an elongated double crochet, whatever you want to call it, it's fine. But what's important here is that you keep your tension loose, because you're going to want to make sure that when you do your double crochet, so yarn over and go in this bottom one, yarn over and pull up a loop. When you pull this loop up, you're going to want to pull it up to the height of your other double crochets. Otherwise your work is going to curl over. So you want to pull it all the way up here to the same height as your other double crochets before you finish it, okay? And we'll do that again. I just wanted to kind of go slow for that first time. So you see how long that stitch is? It's still a double crochet, but we went all the way down here to get it. That's also why it's called a spike stitch. It looks like a spike. Your next one is just going to be a normal double crochet, okay? So there's your group of 3 now. Now, like normal, we're going to chain 1, we're going to skip 1, and in this double crochet, we're going to put a double crochet. Now let's do a spike stitch in this next space. Remember, we go all the way down to the first row to do that. So you're going to go down to the first row, you're going to yarn over and pull up your loop up to the right height, keeping this nice and loose, okay? Finish your double crochet. There you go. And then your next one is a double crochet. Okay? As usual, chain 1, skip 1, you're going to do double crochet. You're going to do a spike stitch or an elongated double crochet using that bottom row down there. Nice and light. And a double crochet. Okay? Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, spike stitch. Oh, losing my yarn there. Okay. Do your spike stitch. See that? Finish your double crochet, and then a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, spike stitch, double crochet. Now to end this, like normal, chain 1, skip 1, so we put a double crochet in that very last stitch, okay? All right, let's just take a look at that really quickly so you can see what that looks like. So you still have your group of 3 double crochet, but one of them is the elongated one or the spike stitch. See that all the way across? Starts making a nice little pattern. All right, now all of these colors are going to have 2 rows. So for our second row, we're just going to put normal double crochets wherever there's a double crochet. Okay, so let's do that. So chain 3 or alternative turning chain. Okay, now this is a chain here, like we had a space, so continue that. So chain 1, skip 1, and now you'll do 3 double crochets. So you're doing a regular double crochet where you had a spike stitch double crochet before. All right, chain 1, skip 1, 3 double crochets there. There. Okay. Chain 1, skip 1, and we'll go here. 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, skip 1, go over here. just like that. Chain one, skip one, do your 3 double crochets. And then just as a reminder, here at the end we had a chain one, skip one, and we ended with a double crochet. Okay, now that was the second row, so we're getting ready to, oh, I got that stuck there. We're getting ready to change colors, so remember, when you're changing colors, do not finish your double crochet. So we started it, yarn over and draw through 2, you have 2 left on the hook, that's where you're going to stop, okay? So now we're going to change colors one more time. I'm going to use 3. You don't have to use 3 colors. You can use as many as you want, or as few as you want. You know, like I said in the beginning, you can actually even do this just with 1 color if you want. You know, it's not going to stand out as much, the spikes, but you can still see them. So whatever you want to do. So once again, I stopped this double crochet with 2 on the hook still. Okay, I'm going to grab my new yarn, and I'm just going to wrap it around my hook, okay, with the tail, leaving the tail. I'm going to wrap this around the hook, and I am going to finish that double crochet with my new color. All right, and now you're going to continue on. Again, you'll cut your yellow, right, and then you can fasten that off later, but this is how we're going to start the next row. All right, turn, either do your alternative turning chain or your chain 3. Now let's take a look at what this row has. So again, wherever we had the spaces is where we wanted to do the spike stitch. So our group of 3 is going to be right here. We're going to have a double crochet, a spike stitch, and a double crochet right here. A little bit more tricky to do your spike stitch when it's the very next stitch there at the beginning of a row, but you can do it. So go ahead and do your spike stitch as your second one. Okay, make sure that you're pulling that up to the right height of the double crochet. So you've got double crochet, spike stitch, and double crochet. Oops, lost it there. Okay, chain 1 and skip 1. Continue with that pattern. Then you're going to double crochet. Okay, this will be your spike stitch where that space is. And then your next one is a double crochet. Continuing the pattern, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. And if it's helpful, you know, you can even drop your hand so that you're not holding that and it's not getting tight at all. You know, whatever you need to do to keep that spike stitch loose, or your tension loose on that stitch. Okay, chain 1, skip 1. Actually, I think that's a little too loose because I was showing you with the my hand away, so I'm just going to redo that. Okay, then chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, spike stitch, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, we'll do a double crochet here, then a spike stitch in the space, double crochet, my cloth is moving a little bit here, okay, chain 1, skip 1, and then this is our last group for the row. We'll do a double crochet, and we're almost to the end here, so you'll do your spike stitch almost to the end. Now this one's just a little difficult because we're at the end, right? There we go. And then here's your last chain for the double crochet at the end. Or your last stitch, I should say, for where you put the double crochet at the end. Okay? So there you've got a nice one there. And then, as usual, the second row of that pattern is just double crochets, right? So every time you do one with spike stitch, you're going to follow that up with just normal double crochets on top of that, okay? So double crochet, double crochet, double crochet on top of those 3 from the row before. Then, like here, you're going to chain 1 and skip 1, double crochet, double crochet, double crochet. Okay, then chain 1 and skip 1. And you're going to continue that pattern all the way across. Chain 1, skip 1. Once again, chain 1 and skip 1. Oops. Double crochet. And then our last one here, chain 1, skip 1. And then your last 3 double crochets for this color. Okay. So if you take a look at that, it's really very pretty. You can see all these spike stitches coming out in all the various colors as you do this, right? Both sides show up that way. Very pretty. And then you can continue. If you want orange next, then go back to your orange and do that. Just note, wherever you have the space right here, that's where you're going to do your spike stitch, and you'll have a double crochet on each side. That will help you determine where those groups of 3 are going to go. So when you turn and go to the next row, let's say we're going to repeat the orange, you're going to do your chain 3, which counts as a double crochet. You know the spike stitch needs to go here, so you're going to have to do a chain 1 and space 1 so you can skip this double crochet, and then do a double crochet, spike stitch, double crochet, right? Chain 1, skip this, double crochet, spike stitch, double crochet. So wherever that space is, that's where you're going to do your spike stitch there, and that will help you determine. But I hope you can see this is really it creates a really dramatic effect. I think it's really pretty, and I hope you give this a try. As usual, if you have any questions about the stitch, let me know in the comments below. If you have any stitches that you'd like to see tutorials on, please leave that there as well. And if you could take a minute to like and subscribe to the channel, it would really help me out, so I would really appreciate it. So give this one a try, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks, everyone.